And welcome back to Cowcast. As I'm traveling down the road today, it's going to be a video update in a very different form than what you've seen from us previously. This format, I guess, is the traveling video update. This is nothing new for geek culture. Paul and Kat over at Comic Trips. If you've never checked them out, I don't know them personally, but all their videos are super solid. And they do a lot of kind of these video blogs on going and visiting, be it flea markets, conventions, comic shops, toy shops, various things. And they talk about, the kind of the significance of the place, the things they're looking for, why that's cool, and they're really, really entertaining, seem like great people. Fanboy Expo was the first convention that we really covered as a podcast. Now, we talked about the Full Moon Tattoo and Horror Convention when we first got started because, Chris Toller from Chat 2 had actually tattooed the zombie bub from the movie Day of the Dead on my left calf. Fanboy Expo 1 year ago, not today, but over a year ago, was the first convention that we kind of made a little bit of a presence. We were lucky enough to meet Jeremy Miller, a cosplayer who does event coordinating for Gibson Guitars, really cool dude, been able to meet, and it really kind of helped set us up, for doing things like this in the future. It's not the biggest con in the world. When we went to the Lexington Toy and Comic Convention, it was, much bigger than what Fanboy is, but it amazes me how many great things they're able to pack into such a smaller convention. I was able to make a second trip with Tivis Phillips and Chris Toller, and we did a post-con rundown for the show previously as well. So, it's been a con that I've had great experiences with, been able to hang out with my buddies, and it's always great rewards. There's going to be a vendor there by the name of Mario's Comics. I'm not sure exactly how to find Mario's Comics on Facebook, but I know that you can. So just search for Mario's Comics on Facebook, and you can definitely find the guy. Super cool to talk to, very knowledgeable, and always has really quality books. I also have to give a big shout out to Brian from Cavalier Comics. Brian seems that he popped up at Lexington. He's been at Fanboy both times I've been there. He and a dealer by the name of Charles Bond, they kind of put out their collections together, and they sell books at the conventions. They're always great to do business with, and they always have a ton of great stuff. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing those guys today. I mentioned that Fanboy isn't as big of a convention, but they're able to get some great guests. Well, let's talk about some of those guests. So Burt Ward is going to be there, and Burt Ward, if you're familiar, played Robin on the Batman 66 TV show that a lot of us have seen, some of us in syndication, reruns, box sets, downloads, piracy, however it may be, but for a lot of us that was the first way that we took in a Batman medium, okay? Adam West was actually supposed to be here today as well, but unfortunately he had some scheduling conflicts with another project he's working on. Roddy Piper will be here. Whether you know him from wrestling or the cult classic They Live, definitely be cool to see Roddy Piper. Kane Hodder. You're into this culture at all, if you're a horror movie fan, you definitely know who Kane Hodder is, from the Friday the 13th movies. And those are kind of some of the highlights, but the big reason that I am driving to Knoxville, or made plans to come to Knoxville today from Charleston, West Virginia, is because Neil Adams is going to be at this convention today. So if you're familiar with our podcast at all, you've probably heard me talk about Neil Adams. He's one of the, if not the greatest, one of the greatest, and a lot of people can make an argument that he is the greatest comic book artist of all time, okay? But even if you don't place him at the top, you could definitely put him in the pantheon of comic book contributors. He's my favorite artist. He's worked on everything from Batman to X-Men to Dead Men to the Spectre. He's worked on a little bit of everything. He holds a special place in my heart because one of the, and I've mentioned this on the show before, one of the few comics that made it out of my original collection that was impacted by a flood is the Batman Annual from 1990, and it's this gorgeously grotesque Two-Face cover, and it's that image. I don't know. I mean, I just instantly gravitated to things like that when I was a kid. He is one of the reasons that I am into comic books and that I'm here today. A few years ago, Tivis Phillips and I, and Chris Tuller too, went and saw Danzig, you know, from Misfits, from solo stuff and whatnot, at the Orange Peel in Asheville, North Carolina. And Tivis and I had a moment when we were standing and just watching him play on stage, thinking, you know, this guy is responsible. This single person is responsible for a lot of what makes up who I am. You know, the Misfits and punk rock and Danzig's music in general, in all realms, they had a big effect on me, and they had a big effect on the other bands that I liked. So being able to see him play live in concert finally was such a mind-blowing experience. I'm going to have that same moment today with Neal Adams. You know, he with his influence from that Batman cover, from the Batman Annual from 1990, he's one of the reasons that I've been into comics for so long. He's one of the reasons that I used to draw a lot when I was a kid, that I had more of a creative side because of that initial attachment I had to comic books. I'm incredibly excited about coming here today. I've been looking forward to this appearance for a long time. I can't remember how long ago it was officially announced that he was going to be at Fanboy Expo, but given that I'd had such great experiences there previously, I was like, well, naturally I have to be at this one as well. So that's the biggest reason I'm here today. I brought a few comics with me. I hope to have them autographed by Mr. Adams, if that's possible. I'm not sure exactly what those look like, you know, that looks like on a price scale, but, you know, we'll check it out and see. Batman number 251, the first Silver Age Joker. This is probably one of the more standout covers from Neal Adams, probably one of his most identifiable images, the one that people is the big go-to, probably the most familiar with, whether they know it's a Neal Adams piece or not. They know that, you know, like that, yeah, that Batman image, that cover. I really appreciate you guys kind of hanging in there with us as we get back up on our feet. In the meantime, feel free to go ahead and start checking out www.thepowcastpodcast.com, and that's our new website, which we've been using previously just for our blog exclusively, but now all of our content will be available there. And you know, big props to Allison and John for all the work they've been doing behind the scenes on this. They've been putting in great stuff, and I think you guys will really like what they're setting up there. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm going to finish the rest of this drive, probably grab some gas soon, and yeah, I'll do a little post show and see ya. I'm out of the convention for the day. I'm out of Fanboy Expo, and wow, another great experience. If not a short experience, it still yielded a lot of great things. I was able to meet Neal Adams. Unfortunately, even though the price of my Batman 251 that he just autographed nearly just doubled in value, I wasn't as prepared to pay as much for his prints and autographs, so I did not get all of my books autographed that I had planned. It was $30 a signature, and don't get me wrong, that, like I said, that pretty much, that signature nearly doubled the value of my Batman 251, but at the same time, I wasn't about to shell out another $120 just for a signature. Cavalier Comics. Cavalier Comics comes through as normal. Brian and Charles, you know, and that's the thing too. You go to these conventions, you go to a few every year, but when you can walk up to a vendor at a convention, and when they see you, they're like, hey, you know, like you have that reaction. They may not, I know that they don't remember my name. That's fine. That doesn't bother me, but you know, we're in the circle enough, and you have more of that, you know, I guess hometown shop feel even at a convention setting, that it was just so welcoming. And they had a lot of great stuff, tons of great books. They had let's see, they did have a Hulk 102. They had Silver Surfer #4. They had a bunch of things that I didn't buy. They had a Green Lantern #76, which is a very famous Neil Adams cover. Mainly picked up some small books to make room for one very large thing that Jade, my wife Jade, was kind enough to let me make room for, and that was, let me reach over really quickly and introduce this to my collection. Now, I'm using a cell phone camera to record this, and it's up on a dash mount. So if you weren't able to see that well enough, because I have no idea what I just actually showed you, that is Avengers #4, and that is the first Silver Age appearance of Captain America, and it's an extremely hard to find book. Now, something that I don't know if we talked about it the last time that we did the podcast, the post rundown show on Lexington. We talked about negotiation. We talked about you know, ways to not necessarily don't pay the sticker price of whatever you see. You know, and there's nothing wrong with asking for a better deal. That's what these people expect. Okay. Suffice it to say, and the name of the place that I was dealing with was H&H Collectibles. Gentleman's name was Bobby. We've talked a little bit before about, you know, negotiations on buying things at these conventions, because the bottom line is these people want to make a sale. Now today is Sunday, okay? So that means that anything that's there, anything that's up on the racks, they've had up for 2 days and no one has purchased it, okay? These vendors have to pay to set up at conventions. They need to make their money back. They need to recoup some of the costs that they've had put into this. So, as Tivis Phillips pointed out once before, Sunday is one of the best days to go, because that is the day these guys are trying to make a sale. First appearance of Captain America that I was able to pick up, let's just say that I was able to negotiate that book down $125 from where it was marked. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you how much I paid. I'm not going to disclose that on here, but I will tell you that that price from where it was came down $125. It's not 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, you know, 125 is a big chunk, okay, from where it was listed. Sunday is the sweet spot. Sunday is the day to where, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to take advantage of these guys. I obviously appreciate what they're doing by setting up, but at the end of the day, if you go to a convention on Sunday, you have all the power. You have all the bargaining power. You have all you know, the better chip in this to actually get a better deal. So just keep that in mind whenever you're planning out a trip, be it to your first convention, to your next convention. If you're thinking about getting into collecting and you're just kind of wondering, just want some tips on, hey man, how do I do this? You know, that's something really to keep in mind. It's a perfect day to go and get the best deal possible, and I was able to.
Well folks, we've got to stop there due to road noise on my way home. Thanks for checking out our video on Fanboy Expo. Make sure to check out John Hale's recent audio commentary of Jurassic Park with the Fusions of Wit YouTuber Katie Lower. As always, thanks for choosing Palcast, a better blend of geek culture. We'll see you guys soon.